Let me just show you this first. I've lost what I was going to say. I bet you're all gutted. Security. Security, security, security. I need a pen. I've lost my pen. Bollocks. There you go. Oh, and shit, I need something else as well, don't I? Bollocks. I keep swearing. Why am I swearing all the time? Anyway, I don't. This is a difficult one, isn't it? Because it's very difficult to know what to say without saying too much about what you do personally. Right, I think I'm quite lucky that I've got a Triumph Tiger, bloody heavy bike. So if we kind of start at the level 1 scumbag, opportunist thief, the Triumph has got a good immobiliser on it. Let's discount the steering lock because it's well, if these kids can break steering locks, then they're no good. The other option is, I think, the Triumph or those kind of bikes. I don't think they're the kind of bikes that somebody comes along with a van and nicks, because there are more saleable bikes around. So I'm lucky in the fact that my bike isn't popular. yeah, I'm lucky in that fact. I'm lucky in the fact that the number of people stealing bikes, they're doing it. You know, they're not just wheeling your bike down the street, parking it up, and then coming back for it later on, because the kids that you see stealing these bikes, they'd have to go for a sports bike, because I doubt they'd be able to push the Triumph. They probably couldn't push a bloody old-fashioned doorbell, let alone the weight of a bloody adventure bike. So I think I'm safe in that respect. And to kind of sort of consolidate the position is that this is the only security, physical security, that I used to put on my bike. The only physical. So if my bike isn't where it overnights, this is what it's got on it. Just this. So I'm relying on the immobiliser and the steering lock and this. And I suspect this would stop most opportunist thieves, because of the fact that they couldn't wheel it away, and it'd be quite difficult to get my bike into the back of a van unless there's 10 of them. So I think that's good for that. The problem then comes is when you're leaving it for a long time, you're leaving it somewhere you're a bit dubious about. So if you leave it for a long time, so I went on a holiday, just been on holiday, just come back. I'm concerned that my bike's in the garage. So you can't see my bike. It's in a quite a large garage. I live in a cul-de-sac, so there's no reason to come down here. But the one thing I do have, which I think is a bit more than, I'm seeing a lot of people with cameras and stuff. So there's a lot of footage on Facebook of bikes being stolen, and I don't understand, if there's footage on Facebook of the bike being stolen, why, if you've left it outside, you should be in a position to deal with a problem with your bike. And what I mean by that is, some of the ones I've seen, obviously the bike is either outside or it's close to the house. The footage is on, and all the footage does is make a very nice bit of film for Facebook or YouTube showing people stealing stuff. There's only been one that the footage has also included somebody interrupting them halfway through, and that's because that footage was of a camera that notifies you if it sees something, and that's, you know, the two cameras I've got, one on the kind of approach to my bike and one looking at my bike, send you notifications of things they've seen. So the camera sees something, it sends you a notification, you look at the camera and you deal with it appropriately. It's as simple as that. So if I'm not at home and I see something on my camera, my phone gets pinged. It only goes off in very high winds, or if somebody's there. And it's a simple one for me. I ring my next neighbour and say there's somebody in my garden, or there's somebody in my house. He opens his gun cabinet, and the rest comes out in court. Yeah, so so that's the physical security of my bike when it's here and when I'm away. So I'm I'm okay with that. I was a bit worried about it, so I ordered something from Amazon, and this, the thing I got from Amazon is probably kind of, you know, next level stuff, for a couple of reasons. So I think it's called the Victory. The chain is, you know, it's one of these chains, and there's a guy on YouTube whose whole channel is dedicated to cutting these with, my phone's going mad, with massive bolt cutters, the kind of bolt cutters you don't carry around the streets. You know, the kind of bolt cutters you can't carry on a bike. They're just massive. And he cuts this stuff. He tries to cut it with bolt cutters. Then he tries with an electric saw, and then he tries with a grinder to see how it is. And this Abus, I think it's called the Victory, I'll put a link to it in the bottom, comes out very, very highly for what he's doing, and the setup of it it's really quite well thought out. So the chain itself has got a circular link on it here, so if you you can thread it through the bike or onto something, and then use this to padlock the bike, or use the disc lock on it as well. So this, I bought this as a combination with the lock and the disc lock, and I bought this disc lock because everything on it spins. The whole thing spins. So to get an angle grinder onto this, maybe you'd be cutting that bit there. You'd have to hold that bit. You'd have to hold this bit tight as you cut through there. And remember, this is through the wheel. This is on the wheel as well. So I'm not sure you'd be able to get into there. You might. I don't know. I'm not sure you would. So so this to me is an appropriate solution. So that threw my front tire, back tire onto something solid, probably to the bike though, and this onto the disc, is, I think, a fairly good solution. I do have one addition to it though, because as it is at the moment, what you're trying to do now, because the little scumbags have taken it to level 2, is you're trying to extend the time that it takes to grind through these, and these take a while to grind through. And any one of these links has to be, you've got to cut it twice. You can't cut it once. So that's 2 cuts you've got to make to get this link off. appreciate it's only one cut there, but I don't think the grinder would. I think it would just take ages because you have to immobilise that before you go any further. So I think you'd have to do 2 cuts there, which in itself is a bit of a nose. Now, in addition to this, if I was leaving my bike somewhere, is dodgy the right word? Somewhere dodgy, I've got another ABUS padlock that I'd probably put onto here, so that on there means you can't unthread the loop, even if you get this where you cut through that, you can't get the loop out. Yeah, so it's at least 1 cut to get this off, which I don't think you'll do. So then you'd have to start dismantling wheels and stuff, and then you'd have to go through it any number of these with your angle grinder. I mean, that's obviously the easiest one, but to get that off. So what we're doing is we're buying time, and I'm quite chuffed with that. And the other thing is, if I'm wanting to, probably my next purchase would be a slightly beefier padlock, slightly bigger one. And the good thing about the ABUS chain, the fact of what the ABUS chain is, you can get a beefy padlock and you don't have to worry about having to thread it through. You know, if you get a massive padlock, you probably find that you won't get 2 in there. So I don't think I could lock that. No, because you've got the ABUS chain, and because it's able to thread through itself, you don't need a lot of space to put the lock through. Yeah, that's another plus of the system, where instead of having 2 loops that you put the padlock on, if you can thread one through, you can get a slightly thicker lock, shall we say, a thicker but smaller lock. Yeah, so that's currently my, well, I suppose that's my current security system. Is that just see if I can get this sorted out. I'll show you the other one of the other ones. Yeah, so I had I was in Scotland for a week or so. I think in the middle of the week down here it was very windy, and part of my camera shot is a bird feeder, and because it was quite windy I was getting notifications on the bird feeder. But this is that's the approach. You can't see where my bike is, but that covers the entry to find my bike. And if this picks anything up, so within that field of view, it'll pick anything up, and anything it picks up shouldn't be there, unless it's obviously me or, hang on, unless it's me or one of these, the other deterrents. Not very good, are they? This is where I discover that both my dogs have escaped. Hunter! Oh, movement. So any one of these two, you can see here. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my rescue. So, and you can hear it now while the dog's wandering around. That beep is the camera saying, "Oh, I've seen something," and I think that's the key. Is don't just film somebody taking your shit. Do something about it. And while you're away, I think, I'm not sure, I haven't seen many videos of people testing this out, and I'm not prepared to get an angle grinder on this because I just bloody bought it. Yeah, so I haven't seen many videos of how good that is, but we wait and see. Yeah, stop moving about, dogs. Yeah, I'll turn notifications off, otherwise you'd go mad, wouldn't you?